Hey, what's up everybody? Deep Sky Dan here, and yes, I am finally back, ready to make part 2, how to image and process a galaxy, smartphone style. Smartphone Astro, alright, woo! So, I am in a new location right now, and this is where I will be imaging from tonight. I just found this area. It's close by my house, and actually this is one of the local high schools' fields they use for sports, training, what have you. There's a baseball field over this way, and actually behind me here there's a bunch of kids playing soccer, practicing. But tonight in this area, this is where I will be imaging a galaxy to make part 2 of this video. And if you're wondering which galaxy we will be making, I am going to be imaging M33, the Triangulum Galaxy. I am really looking forward to it. Last year I tried to image the galaxy, but with the gear I had, I wasn't quite able to fit the entire galaxy in the field of view. Now I've got upgraded equipment, and hopefully we can get the majority, if not all, of the galaxy in the field of view, and then when we process it, we'll create a nice image. So I am looking forward to that. Really excited. There are some clouds in the sky, but this is just a big, beautiful area. No lights, no houses, and I can do whatever I want here. So I will leave you later setting up. All right, guys, let's get going. Part 2, Smartphone Astro. Okay guys, well, it is now finally dusk time, and you can see behind me I am set up, and I can already see the moon over here and Venus looking extremely bright. So I'm gonna have a look at Venus before we start imaging tonight's galaxy, M33, the Triangulum Galaxy. So get ready, here we go. Smartphone Astro, how to image and process the galaxy, part 2. Alright, well, it is almost 11 o'clock, and it is finally time to start imaging M33, the Triangulum Galaxy. My telescope is pointed straight up in a nice dark portion of the sky. It is perfect time to start on this. And this area that I found today is working out great. It is completely dark around here. No houses, no lights, and it is just a beautiful sky tonight. Perfect night for imaging. I'm extremely happy. I can't wait to get started. Let me just go over a few things that I've done. I've put my Galaxy S10 Plus in the Celestron NexYZ phone holder, and I've attached it to the Orion 40mm plossl eyepiece. What I'm doing now is I'm tweaking the image here. I've got the DeepSkyCamera app open. I will be using that for imaging tonight, which I always use. I've got the preview screen at ISO 3200, which is max 1 second exposure, and that allows me to see the galaxy just a little bit, just enough in the preview screen. I know it's there. It's right in the middle here. Maybe a little hard to see on the video, but I've already checked. And what I'm doing now is I'm just tweaking the phone holder to get a nice circle and make sure everything looks really smooth and there's no dark spots or shadows or anything weird in the view here. So what I'm gonna do next is I will take a series of test images until I get the image where it looks really nice and perfect and it's tweaked out and I can use it for post-processing. Now I've got my telescope in focus already. I did that with my eyes through the eyepiece before I put the phone holder on the eyepiece. I've got the mirror lock set. I'm just about ready to start imaging. I'm gonna finish up here with a few more tweaks, but this is what I do every time I image a galaxy, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, it's really not that hard to do. It's quite easy. And another thing, one last thing that I like to do is I take a black towel and I put it just around the phone and the eyepiece, so that way no stray light gets in between that area there. If you're imaging in an area where there's street lights or houses or cars, that black towel is going to help prevent any stray light getting into where the eyepiece and your phone have an open area. So that is also an important thing to do. All right, guys, well, I'm gonna finish up tweaking out and making sure I am perfect for tonight, and I'm gonna get ready and go. And we're gonna image M33, the Triangulum Galaxy. Okay, it is almost time to start imaging. I just wanted to show you my settings in DeepSkyCamera here. Now I've got everything tweaked out to the NexYZ exactly how I want it. And I've got the DeepSkyCamera app open here. M33 is centered right in that circle area there in between those stars. Now up top here you can see DeepSkyCamera. I am using ISO 3200, exposure time 1 second. Now that is just for the preview screen only. I always use these settings for galaxies and nebulae. They really help me to see what I'm going to image in the preview screen there. These are completely different settings from our imaging settings, which are down below. Now I'm going to be imaging in RAW tonight. You can see on the bottom there, I have it set to lights, which is the type of images I will be using. That's just to document so you don't get mixed up. On my phone, I have a max, basically 30-second exposure time using the Galaxy S10 Plus in the DeepSkyCamera. I'm going to be using ISO 800 tonight, which is a sweet spot with my camera and the Baader 5 area that I image in. I also am using a 3-second interval in between pictures. Once I hit go, it's going to automatically take as many pictures as I set, and there's going to be a 3-second interval in between. Now I do that just because it helps reset the camera to make sure it takes another image properly. Now you might not have to do that with your phone, but it works great with mine, so that's the settings that I use. Now frames is where you're going to set how many images you want to take. I'm going to be setting mine maybe to 100 for the first set, and then once I take 100, maybe try to take 100 more. Next, over here, let's see, white balance, always to auto. Always to auto, I never touch that. Aperture 1.5, I use the lowest aperture I have on my phone. I believe it also goes to 2.4, but for the night vision, the night quality images, I use the 1.5, which I believe is recommended. And then focal length is at 4.3. I don't touch that. That never changes anyway. That's just something that's there. You don't have to worry about that. So I am ready to rock and roll here. M33 is in the center of that preview screen. I'm going to do one more test image here just to make sure. I'm going to hit start, and it's going to take a 5-second delay before it takes an image, just to help if there's any shakes in the phone from touching it. Now you can see it's going through a 30-second image. It's going to count down. There's a countdown. There's 2 bars there. The first one tells you the amount of pictures you're taking and the end time, the actual time that that picture will finish. And then below you can see it's counting down from 30 seconds to it's going to finish. And then once it does that, I'm going to take you over and show you exactly what the image we just took. You'll get an idea of our images, what we're going to be taking for tonight. Now I'm going to hit this button here, and it's going to take me over to the gallery. Now the newest one is usually on the bottom, and once it's finished with that, I'm going to zoom in, and you can see right there is M33 right in the middle and all our stars around it. It's a totally different image than in the preview screen. That is it. That is what we want. Stars look good. We are ready to rock and roll, and you can see M33 is right in the middle there. All right, so that looks good. I'm going to hit the back button and get out of there. Now, usually what happens is a lot of time I have to reset the camera to bring a proper preview screen back up. That's just how my phone works with it. You might find niches with your phone, so don't worry. Everything's going to work properly. But I am ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to 100, and I'm going to hit start, and we're going to start imaging. All right, here we go. Let's get some data. Wow, what an awesome night that was last night. How awesome is it to see the Triangulum Galaxy M33 in the preview screen of the DeepSkyCamera app on your smartphone, 2.73 million light years away, and we got it on our smartphones. At least I did. I don't know about you yet. That's up to you. But I wanted to show you one of my images here. This is one of my raw images. Can you see it there? This is a single 30-second exposure, and right in the middle there, that is M33. That's exactly what we wanted to get. Now, I got a ton of exposures last night. I can't wait to get those in my PC and make part 3 of this series, where I'm going to show you how I personally process all my smartphone data in programs like Photoshop, Topaz Denoise, using astronomy tools in Photoshop. These are all going to help me bring out a nice image, and I am really looking forward to that, making part 3. That will be soon. But I just wanted to reiterate about some of the gear that I used, because it's hard to show you guys at night everything that I'm doing. I do my best with that. So today I'm going to show you some of the eyepieces, the phone holder, and this new beast behind me here, the EQ6-R Pro, that is really up to my game in astrophotography. So let's go over a few of those things now. But again, it is truly awesome to see these galaxies in the DeepSkyCamera app's preview screen. Man, I just get so excited. Sometimes it's so hard to contain myself, and I love doing this. I absolutely love doing this, and I hope you do too. And if I can help you do this, let's do it together. So get out and get your M33 data, and let's process that in part 3. But next, let me show you some of the gear that I used. So if you haven't seen my previous video about 2 must-haves for deep sky imaging, you can go back and check that out. It'll tell you a little bit about the phone holder that I use and the imaging app that I use, DeepSkyCamera. But I'm going to show you that a little bit here today. But for more in depth, go back and watch that video, and it'll explain a little bit about those in depth. Now, I always use my Galaxy S10 Plus here. This is my usual imaging phone. This phone does have the RAW option, which you're going to need for imaging. You want to have that RAW option. It doesn't compress your images, so we can go stretch those later in Photoshop. That's important to have. Now, I also do use the DeepSkyCamera app, like I've mentioned previously, and this app is awesome. This preview screen is what I love, one of the features that I love, absolutely. So if you have a pro video mode, a pro camera mode on your phone, this app is probably going to work well with your phone. But make sure you can image in RAW. See if you have that option. That's also very important. So this is what I use. This is my imaging camera here. Now next, the Celestron NexYZ phone holder. I've used some other phone holders, and I find this one works great because of its 3 different movable axes. It's not so great for a lot of the bigger, wider, like 82-degree eyepieces. Are just too wide. This is not going to fit on there. But my 62-degree line, no problem. So I actually have some 2-inch eyepieces that are 62 degrees, and it fits on there just right, almost too close. It's a little tough, but it does work on there. I like this. I really like this NexYZ phone holder here. I've done 2 mods to mine. If you can see, there's some white double-sided tape, and in the back here I've added a couple washers. Check that other video out and it'll explain a little bit more. But this is what I'm always using, along with my S10 Plus. And now last night when I imaged M33, I used just this simple 40mm Orion plossl eyepiece. This is just a basic eyepiece. It doesn't take anything special to image these galaxies. You know, this is a cheap eyepiece. Obviously quality is not going to be the best, but you can get it done with this eyepiece. This is a 40 millimeter, and I think the field of view is right around maybe 40, 45 degrees, which isn't so wide, but you know, hey, it works. Now, I also use another eyepiece that's super cheap. This is a Svbony 40 millimeter plossl. This is really cheap, like 20 bucks you can get this. I've done a lot of imaging with this eyepiece, and I've gotten a lot of galaxies. You can go back and check my Instagram and you'll see I've used this eyepiece a lot. It's cheap. You know, you don't have to have the best equipment to do astrophotography. Of course, better level equipment does make better details and better quality images, so that is important if you can upgrade, which I've recently just done. I'll show you those. Now, another important item that I use here is a filter. And this is a Svbony UV IR cut filter. If you can see that, Svbony UV IR cut. And what this does is this stops star bloat. And actually this is also used as a luminance filter. You can get a little bit more detail out of your galaxies with this. This is also pretty cheap, like 20, 25 bucks. And this is really important piece of equipment to use. You know, it all adds up. When you put all this stuff together, it just creates a better image. Now, one EP that I have picked up recently is this big bad boy. This is a Teleview 55 millimeter plossl. And you can see the difference between the Orion 40 and this Teleview 55. Much bigger, much heavier. The difference is just, you know, I mean, look at it. But what this EP is going to do is going to allow me to image some of the bigger DSOs like Andromeda, the Orion Nebula M42, plus the Running Man Nebula. I've already checked online, field of view calculator, and with this eyepiece, I can fit all those in the field of view. This has a 50-degree field of view at 55 millimeters. You can get these online used for anywhere from $150 to $200. You know, I want to get some of these bigger DSOs because they've really kind of eluded me, especially Andromeda. I've tried to capture it, and it's really hard to get all of it in the field of view, especially with the Edge 8 that I'm using. That's the other thing, you know, the long focal length at a 2000 millimeter focal length. The field of view is so narrow, and even now I'm using a 0.7 times reducer, which drops it down to f7 at 1400 millimeters. Still, that field of view is a little bit tough. I can't get, you know, M31 Andromeda in there, and even right now I can't get the Orion Nebula, the full nebula in there. So that's why I picked this up, because I really want to get some of those bigger DSOs. I see everybody imaging them, and I can't do it. Now, if you have a shorter reflector with a shorter focal length, you're going to be able to image those more wide field for you all. But for me, with the Edge 8, it's a little bit tough. But the reason why I chose the Edge 8 is because I'm a galaxy imager. I love galaxies. That's what I really want to focus on. So the Edge 8 was just the best choice for that. But we'll see what happens with this. This is another video. I might do that, another one-part video doing Andromeda. We'll see. At least that's my goal. But these are some of the pieces that I'm using. And, like I said, you don't have to have the best equipment to do this. I'm kind of on a mission, and I've done a lot of upgrades, especially this bad boy back here, EQ6-R Pro by Skywatcher. This has changed the game completely for me. It's with my Edge 8 and all the gear I'm putting on top of it, especially 2-inch eyepieces, and with star sense, and it's just, I was really pushing the weight limit with my Skyview Pro, my Orion Skyview Pro. That has a max 20 pounds, and the OTA, the Edge OTA, is just 14 pounds alone. So you never really want to push past 50 or 60% of your weight capacity. So I decided to sell it. I sold my Mac 150. I sold my Paradigm eyepieces. I sold a lot of various gear. Put all that money into this, and you know, I put the rest on the credit card. Hey, you know, you do what you got to do, right? Astrophotography is addicting anyway. Watch your credit cards, watch your wallet. It will make you broke. It's just endless, this hobby. But I got this guy now, and I did a Geoptik 25mm counterweight shaft upgrade, plus the 22-pound counterweight, I believe this is. I found that the really thin counterweight shaft was kind of floppy, a little loose, and just not so sturdy, so I went ahead and got the upgrade with this as well. I love this mount. It's awesome. No complaints. It's sturdy. It's going to hold my Edge 8 and all the gear on it really well. So, you know, you don't have to have all this stuff. You know, use what you have. If the important thing here is to have a tracking mount. You have to track these DSOs to be able to get these 30-second exposures like I'm doing. So I can't stress that enough. Otherwise, it's going to be really tough. You're going to be limited to super short exposures, and you're just not going to get the details that we want to get with that. So yeah, Skywatcher EQ6-R Pro. And next I want to show you some of the 62-degree Explore Scientific eyepieces that I also got. Some of the newer eyepieces that I just recently upgraded to, I think are really nice. Explore Scientific makes great eyepieces, and you know, when we're using our smartphone to get the data, it's important to have quality eyepieces. Now, before I showed you some of the cheaper ones that I use, and I've gotten good images with those, but if you can upgrade at all to Explore Scientific, Teleview plossls, those are great, or even Naglers or anything Ethos, anything, you're going to get better quality views, crisper views, better details, contrast, and you know, I didn't want to break my wallet and put any more money on the credit card than I needed to, so I sold the other ones, the Paradigms that I had, and I upgraded to these Explore Scientific. This is their 62-degree field of view. This is a 32. This is actually 2-inch. This is the only, now the 40 is also 2-inch as well. And if you're wondering, do these 2 inches fit on the NexYZ? Well, let's see. 2-inch, and you can see it does fit on there. So that's really nice to be able to, because a lot of these wider field of view, the barrel is much fatter, and the NexYZ, they will not fit in there. So that is really nice to be able to fit those in there. Now I've got some double-sided tape on there, so it is a little sticky to get in and out, but they do fit in there. These are argon purged. They won't fog up in wintertime when you're trying to use them inside. And these are 5-element design in sets of 3. And these are going to bring you much higher contrast, more flatter field, which is nice. This is the 32, which is a 2-inch. And then the next one will be a 40, which is also a 2-inch, which I have coming hopefully soon. Now, here is the 20, which you can see is much smaller. And the 20 is really great. These are great eyepieces. I really like them, and you can see they're flat, so they fit nicely on the NexYZ, which is very important. This is the 20, and then here is the 14, which, you know, is a little smaller, you can see. And then the lowest one I have is the 9, which is really small there. But these are all 62-degree field of view. I've used all of them on the planets, and great views. They are a little expensive, but you know, you get what you pay for. So you know, I did what I had to do, and I don't think I'm going to be buying any more EPs once I get this 40. I buy everything used, so I recommend buying them all used. They're really easy to find online. It's just, you know, once somebody posts them on the forum, it's hard to get in first to be able to get that option to get them, but you got to be like on it hitting the button, send message, hey, I want this. But I did. I managed to get them, and I think anybody can manage as long as you're quick enough. So you see here is the TeleVue 55 and the Explorer Scientific 32, both 2-inch. So make sure you have a 2-inch diagonal for those as well. You're going to need that. So these are some of the upgrades that I've done that you've seen with the eyepieces, the mount behind me here, some of the things with the NexYZ that I've done, and I'm using these from now on. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that with you guys. I think these are important components to have in your bag of tricks. Thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry if it was a little short, but it is hard to image at night. I'm going to try my best next time, maybe with a little bit better lighting, to show you exactly my setup and how I'm doing everything. But I hope it works for you. I hope you're able to get out and get your own data on M33, the Triangulum Galaxy. Get out and get yours. Now I recommend getting an hour or more on this Galaxy because it is quite faint and we want to get the most data we can. I got about 2 hours, I think, 2 hours, 30 minutes on it. So I'm going to be processing that. Now, if you aren't able to get your own data on this, I will be making my stacked TIFF available to you that you can download from Google Drive, and you can drop it in Photoshop if you have Photoshop or whatever you're using, and you can follow along and see exactly how I do it so you have the same data. I will be making that available to you as well. If you like this video, please, please, please give me a like. I appreciate any comments as well. I'm always here to answer your questions about anything you have. Feel free to message me anytime. And check out my Instagram, AstroPix Japan, AstroPix Japan, AstroPix Japan. And check out some of my recent images. I will also be putting them at the end of this video for you to see what I've been doing recently, some of the different DSOs that I've gotten. I've imaged some planets, some nebulas, and then we're going to be processing this galaxy in part 3. I'm really looking forward to that. You know, it's not easy to do this using smartphone data, and even getting these images is not easy, but it's something I really love in doing. I don't really see too many people getting this data and putting it into a processing and bringing out images. But it can be done with trial and error. It can be done. I'm no pro, but I've created some nice images, and that's why I'm making these videos, to show you the gear I'm using, how I'm doing this, so you can do it as well. I've got a lot of different videos planned. Maybe a galaxy, or not a galaxy, but a planets. Let's do Jupiter or Saturn, and I'll show how we process those as well. I'm going to be doing a lot of galaxies this season. I've already got a lot of other videos, ideas in my mind. My mind is swirling with ideas, and some of the people I've spoken to have given me great ideas, and I appreciate you all for those comments and ideas. I'm really looking forward to doing more of these. Sorry for the delay in making this part 2. Summer was brutal, as I said previously. But I am back. We are finally in fall. It is beautiful here in Japan. Finally got some clear, cool nights. So I'm looking forward to getting outside under the stars and doing more of these for you. I really love this. It's exciting. I mean, I get so excited doing these. I wish I had more friends to talk to that were living in this area that do this as well. But I think that's another reason why I'm making these videos, so I can share my excitement with you all and you can feel that as well. So, all right, guys, thank you again. Check out my Instagram, AstroPix Japan. Questions, comments, likes, I appreciate it. Thank you all. We'll see you in part 3 processing video, which I'll be making pretty soon. I don't need clear night for that. So, all right, guys, thanks again. Smartphone Astro. All right, see you soon. Take care.